Hello and welcome back to Gold Squadron Podcast. My name is William Hegwood. I'm coming to you live from the Richmond Open. We're watching some live X-Wing 2nd edition. This scenario is called Salvage Mission. We have Bradley Smith versus Duncan Howard. This is one of two top 4 matches we're going to have to start off this morning. The event organizers were kind enough to allow us to watch both of the top 4, so we'll see a complete cut here, which I'm very excited about. But before we go too far, breaking down the scenario and the lists, want to make sure we get that betting open. You can choose your champion. We got Bet 1 All for Bradley Smith and the Rebel Alliance, rocking those proton torpedoes. Then Bet 2 All for Duncan Howard and the Inquisitors, Darth Vader and Grand, the best of the best, with Emperor Palpatine. Really some high-level Imperial agents there. So we got that going on. So let's take a look at the new changes for Salvage Mission. Now, as with all of the scenarios, you cannot score scenario points, and you cannot do scenario actions. So what that means is that these guys are more or less delayed for a round, give themselves a round to position, get ready to engage the opponent, and start working on collecting these caches. The only other big difference is about what you're allowed to do when you are towing. So let's read this tow action here. When a ship performs a tow action, choose a supply cache at range 0 to 1. Remove the supply cache and place it next to your ship's card. You can only have one supply cache on their card. And you place a marker to signify as such. Now, the big changes, though, revolve around the cloak actions and the different reposition actions you can do. After a ship performs a tow action, it removes any cloak tokens. That is new. Previously, they would limit your dial, no advanced maneuvers. Now, now, while a ship is towing a supply cache, it cannot perform barrel roll, boost, cloak, slam, or actions, or gain cloak tokens. Of course, the penalty for receiving a crit while towing is you will have to jettison that cache, and the opponent always places any any cache that you drop, your opponent will place at range 0 to 1. Now that the limited maneuverability is going to hurt Major Vermeil, who recently got a change to their ship ability of the Reaper, now has controlled ailerons and is able to boost before they reveal their dial, and that is a may. So may boost before they reveal their dial, which means if you are towing, cannot boost while towing. Same thing with these X-Wings, who can boost and barrel roll. Pretty much everybody around here can boost and barrel roll, except for Vermeil. Vermeil cannot barrel roll. So, well, you guys are finishing off putting your bets in. We got bets going towards Duncan right now. So if you want to scoop up the better payout, I want to take a look at Bradley Smith's list, which includes Luke Skywalker with a shattering shot, proton torpedoes, trick shot, R3 astromech, and of course the servo motor as foils. Luke is a force user. You can get a force back anytime he's shot at. Great for a defensive ability. Shattering shot and trick shot can combine together for a total of a 6 dice proton torpedo if it's going through an obstacle. We did see that yesterday. One shot a Sienna Ree, who thought they were safe. Not against this Luke. Then of course has R3 astromech, so when you do take that lock action, you can grab 2 locks as well. Moving on here, we do have Wedge Antilles, who can reduce the defense dice rolled by the opponent, or the defender specifically. Does have trick shot, elusive, and those proton torpedoes as well. So no obstacle is safe from Wedge and Luke. So rounding out the T-70s here, or T-70s. These are T-65s. We have Thane Kyrell with elusive for a defensive reroll and proton torpedoes as well. Rounding out the list is Arvel, an amazing blocker who can treat their boost as maneuvers to partially execute them to be able to shoot at range 0. What a blocker. Even has Daredevil to allow those real tight boosts to make sure that you can come in contact with another ship and be able to trade shots at range 0. So let's take a look at the current positioning here. We do have Thane in the black, or the Partisan Renegade one. Let's see if I can get that to be. So let's give it a little bit of gray. Ooh, so we do see Thane picked up a cache. Luke comes to the center cache, and as well Arvel down there picked up a cache in addition. This is round 2, so we're able to start taking those scenario actions. Now, what Duncan is flying, the list is built around Darth Vader, Defender. You can only spend the Force while attacking, but can use the Force to change a blank result to a hit. Has Malice, so can spend a second Force to convert an eyeball to a crit and could potentially get that Force back if you deal out a pilot crit. Duncan's chosen cluster missiles over a heavy laser cannon to be able to shoot multiple times, and with Malice he was boasting about being able to put a crit through, which was a pilot, on the first cluster and then follow up with full force on the second attack. In addition to that, has Juke, so anytime he is evading with that full throttle ship ability, can change the defender's dice from an evade to an eyeball. Super good, especially when you're shooting multiple times with those cluster missiles. So, rounding out, I gotta stop saying that. The second ship for the Force user here is the Grand Inquisitor. We just recently watched Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Grand Inquisitor is scary in it. Does have the ability to take away the range 1 bonus or apply a range 1 bonus to their attacks depending on the situation. Doesn't look like we saw any damage there from Vader's attack. Wake up, cards. Come on. We want to see ya. Load on in. But this Grand has extreme maneuvers, which you can see Oh, no spoilers. We're not talking about Obi-Wan, but the Grand Inquisitor is in it. If you've seen any promotional materials, he's in like the first scene or so. Anyways, has extreme maneuvers, and that really combos well with that boost linked to red focus. So you can hard one, and then boost hard one, and link it to that red focus. Super, super good for that high maneuverability. The rest of the upgrades here, we do have concussion missiles, which means you don't have to spend your force to roll the third attack dice if you just require a lock. The fire control system combines with that to where you do not need to spend your lock to get a reroll. And speaking of rerolls, has Lone Wolf as well, where as long as they are not at range 0 to 2 of a friendly ship, gets a reroll for the round, as Grand is not equipped with a elusive. Lone Wolf is taking the place of that for that kind of defensive reroll we see from the Rebels. Rounding out the squad is Major Vermeil, one of my favorite ships. It has the ability to convert a blank to a hit if the defender has no green tokens, has those controlled ailerons I mentioned before, and Emperor Palpatine. We had Rex in our chat ask about the combination between Vader's limitation of spending force on offense only versus Emperor Palpatine, and it has been ruled that it certainly does work. It's Palpatine spending the force, not Vader, for modifying his green dice. Vermeil also has targeting computer, very offensive orientated with crack shot as well, so certainly no slouch as far as attack dice are concerned. When you can target lock, use your own palp force, and then crack shot could be a devastating attack against any of these Rebel ships. So let's take a look here at the positioning going into the round 3 planning phase. We do have 3 points scored for the Rebels and 2 points scored for the Empire. Interesting that both lists wanted to focus on the objectives for the second round, which I think is smart. Both of these can be a tough nut to crack, so wanted to grab up as many points as possible to get that additional lead. The fourth ship from Bradley, that Arvel, being able to scoop up the extra objective, has put him in the advantage for right now. I do have some of the list here. Then there should be, you just change Saturday to Friday, and you can see the other side of the lists. See Isofane in the chat. Oh, and he's gifting subs, Iso. I thank you so much for joining in and contributing. Always a wonderful time to see that kind of support, and everybody as well who's joining and watching. We're able to come down here wanting to promote the Richmond Open. This is the inaugural year for the convention, so want to promote it, get it out there so we can have it again next year as well. In addition to that, we do have those new points and list building restrictions, which I think is going to be a way to alleviate some of the concerns, especially after AdeptCon and maybe some other things players have seen throughout the last couple months. And in my opinion, it has fixed a lot of the issues that were cropping up, mainly objectives being the primary source of winning instead of the alternative win condition that they really should be. So that mainly comes with those second round limitations where you cannot score objectives in the first round. Balances out the ships that might not be as fast as others. Yes, and handy. Those are the ailerons of the Vermeil ability here. So you can see normally it was adaptive, where before you reveal your dial, if you're not stressed, you must do a boost. Or excuse me, it said before you must do a maneuver, a one bank or one forward. They have simplified that to where it is now just a boost, and oh boy, we see that range ruler. That is Luke Skywalker. Remember, Luke Skywalker's got the shattering shot, trick shot combination, looking to put a 6 dice proton torpedo into Vermeil there. Super, super scary. Great question though. I think I see what you're asking. The rules refer to very specifically. Actually, I think I said it wrong earlier. You cannot do boost actions. The controlled ailerons is not an action. It is simply a boost. Very similar to Anakin, Kid Anakin in the Naboo, who can barrel roll before they reveal the dial. That barrel roll is not an action, so it would not prevent the caches wouldn't stop you from doing that barrel roll move. So big difference there, but very interesting as well. So I think they've nailed the Reapers and the Strikers very well with that, because they cannot like bump. Oh boy! Especially if you like are forced to ailerons onto an obstacle and then hit it coming off your maneuver, was a travesty before, and now it is pretty normal. The other thing was forcing you to boost when you are near the board edge. Jokingly had said that Reapers were the most ship flown off the board, and now with those controlled ailerons, can reel that in and not have to go as fast and uncontrollable. So that was actually a purposeful cash drop from the Grand Inquisitor. You can jettison that cargo after your activation. And we see here that little red marker in the bottom right of Grand is an evade. So is prepared for a wedge proton torpedo. That's going to be a bit scary for the old Grand. Luckily, he's got that evade and some force, as he's only going to be rolling 2 defense dice. We do have I don't think he barrel rolled, because he took the evade action, and they don't have a linked action like that. So had to wait to jettison the cargo. Picked it up to score a point off of it, but then had to jettison it to be able to be maneuverable the following round. Rarely seen. The purposeful jettison, but to be honest with you, with that wedge proton torpedo coming in, you're probably gonna get it jettisoned anyways. So proactively did it in case Wedge had shot the Reaper instead. Does Wedge have R3? No. So it has a very specific lock. Bradley Smith of Of course, using those beautiful Galaxy's target locks, the little square ones with the planets. Whew, they look so good on the table. All right, so I was checking some ranges here. Now, won't have the lone wolf. Ooh, and nothing from the original 4 dice here, so it's gonna have to spin the lock. Ooh, and gets just 1. Grand Inquisitor's laughing at that with his evade token. Oh, got to spin the force too, in case Luke tries to do some sort of fancy follow-up. I think my dice are a little bit out of focus. I'll have to correct that in just a second. But we'll see if that can be fixed. But not before we see the Shattering Shot trick shot here. All right, so we got hit, hit, crit, crit. He's going to spend the lock for a hit, and then spend 1 force to add an eyeball, a 2nd force to convert that eyeball into a hit, and then proton torpedo crit. Vermeil is going to spend the evade and the palp force, and then take 2 shields and 2 crits. Wow! What a shot here onto Vermeil. We'll take a look at those crits while I adjust the dice cam in just a second. But a huge attack from Luke. Rolled as many dice as he's worth points. Whew. I guess he didn't roll the Shattering Shot, but I think we all can understand that. No obstruction is safe from Luke. We got a single crit here from Vermeil. Easy evades. I don't think... So this is Arvel. Throws out a hit crit and is going to... I think that's an evade. I'm going to open up my dice box a little bit. Yeah, it's an evade. So it takes 1 more crit. Thank you. Hull breach into fuel leak, into disabled power regulator, into weapons failure. Oh boy. So fuel leak probably got triggered there, but hull breach, weapons failure, and what was the last one? Disabled power regulator? Oh boy. That's terrifying. I think we're recovering force, which will allow me to go fix the camera. So just give me just a moment here. Leave you with some Loopin' Rock. Alright, I am back. We're moving into round 4. We still have 3 points here scored to just 2 points on the other side. Yeah, because Vermeil got the crate popped as well. So Bradley in a great position here. Did a massive shot to Vermeil. Now, we'll have some problems tracking him potentially. Wedge will have to like cut around that gas cloud and head to the bottom of the board edge. Maybe Arvil just sloops to the right to just get any red dice on that target with hull breach and fuel leak and what's the regular health count? 6? Yeah, that's what I thought. He's down to 2. So between fuel leak and hull breach, you only need a single hit to go through. So we'll see what the options here. Brunesti joining us here, resubscribing. Really do appreciate everybody jumping in, gifting those subs like I was so fan, resubscribing through Prime, and of course, I can't forget our biggest supporter for this event is Kuat Print Yarns. Visit kuatprintyarns.com for all of your X-Wing paraphernalia and accessories. You can use code GSP, let them know we sent you, and get a 15% discount. Really do want to thank them. And of course, we are giving away t-shirts after each round, brought to you by our Grand Admiral Patreons. If you want to become part of our largest group of supporters, check out patreon.com/Gold Squadron. You can get quarterly rewards, exclusive updates personally from Dion. So check that out. It is a great way to support what we do here. We cannot travel around the country and world streaming these live X-Wing events without the generous support of all of our followers. So really do appreciate all of that. We did see Ranger Vermeil flip down that hull breach as their action and dipped out of there. It looked like sloop. What a silly man I am. That A-Wing's got vectored cannons, so just rotated to the rear to fire a 2-dice turret attack. So, we're going to see here. Grant comes in for a block, has the evade token to try to prevent as much damage as possible going through. They'll drop the cache and then, well, I guess it assumed that Wedge was going to shoot it off anyways, but a strange decision nonetheless. So we're going to see that block from Luke, probably not even bothering to take the red focus action from a overlap. And a 4K from Darth Vader Defender. Gonna get the free evade. Probably gonna boost in to attack Wedge or Luke here. Yeah, certainly I agree. These Empire ships really like to be fast and maneuverable with those repositions, so a jettison on purpose was really the only way. He picked it up to score a point, which is is half the points he scored already. But Duncan has to get Darth Vader Defender in here and has to take down one of these X-Wings before they shoot off all of their proton torpedoes. Now, luckily, Wedge had an extremely lackluster attack, netted just 1 crit after all of the modifications last turn. So we'll see here. I think he is just gonna grab the cash. Heck yeah! That's gonna be 4 of them picked up for the Rebels. With just that 1 Rebel cache sitting over. It's Rebel signaled. It's not the actual Rebel cache, but a Rebel insignia cache over on the right side. You have to really get close to that board edge if anyone's ever going to try to pick it up. We see here Darth Vader's ability and Malice for 2 crits, which I can only assume is onto Luke or thing. We'll find out. There's a range 3 attack, juked, and then elusive, and a direct hit, which is going to drop that cash on Wedge. Wedge is the biggest threat to Darth Vader Defender, as they're both initiative 6. So he's able to pop off that cash, which is 1 less point Bradley will be scoring this round. Let's see what Grant has to say. Yeah, Fishborn, I can almost guarantee that the 3-cornered ones are from Duncan. He said, oh no. No. Do you not want that? So we're going to see some force usage there. Through the obstruction, Thane's got a reroll. And is going to take in damage. I did a lot of research about Thane. It's got a pretty crazy backstory. Originally flew for the Empire, but after the Death Star, it really made him reconsider his allegiances. Vermeil engages here. Does have the Pound Force available. Let's see, 2 hits. And that's a dead Vermeil. Ooh! That is huge. Not only is Pound off the board, but that's 5 points over to Bradley as well. With the 3 remaining caches that they control, should put him up to 13 total points. Whew. Bradley's running away with it here. And honestly might be physically running away with these caches as well. Arvel does not need to engage, can just fly around with that cache and score a bunch of points. Tempting to do the same with Thane. 13 points on the board. You just have to last 3.5 rounds, if that makes any sense. I don't know how you do a half round, but I think you can understand what I'm trying to say. Fishborn thinks Faroff could be the better option, though I don't think Faroff is a Palp carrier, though, which would be probably too good. Should it be 14? We'll see what they have on their scoreboard here. It does say 14. I must have not clicked an extra one. Because that should be 9 scenario points. Yeah, that makes sense. 3 on turn 2, 3 on turn 3, 3 on turn 4 as we enter into turn 5. So yeah, this is now on Duncan to make the most of his ships. Darth Vader did do 4 damage with his last attack, but that's the only attack he's made so far, and Grand hasn't had the option to really be in a place to bring some offensive attacks. Kind of ended up jousting with the rest of the ships in the middle, just taking those evade actions, being as defensive as possible, trying to get into the end game. But Bradley, he's saying, no, I don't need no end game because, tie there. I don't need no end game because I'm just going to score enough objective points to close this out early. So from the games I've seen, your goal should be 10 points in objectives and about 10 points then in ships destroyed. Now, depending on if you want to focus down a ship like Darth Vader, who's worth 9 points, you might want to, if you can commit to that, just take him off the board and then work on 11 points of scenarios. Objectives could be your win condition. So you really got to start doing those math breakdowns of like, okay, I can probably score, 4 points from each of those 2 ships, so I need to be looking at 12 points of scenario objectives scored, and kind of help formulate your strategy really early on in the game. Now, the developers have talked a lot about the load, the mental drain and capacity you have to utilize in turn 0 previously. I think that has been kind of spread out between turn 0 and turn 1. Still so important though. Deployment, obstacles, and objectives in turn 0, so important for the early game. Could really give you an advantage coming into the initial engagement. We do see that extreme boost from Grand. If you're not familiar with Grand, it does have this beautiful dial. Love the blue 1 banks and hard 1s. So it almost creates like a slamming effect where you can hard 1 and then hard 1 boost. Yeah. Wedge is going to K-turn here. The road roll did go to Bradley. And we'll see if Duncan, I think you have to just barrel roll and try to shoot Wedge. Yeah, certainly does. Yeah, just kind of to eat that obstacle. It's fine. Score 6 points instead. Don't worry about those obstacles. Juke is in effect. Wedge locked Grand and then had to pick up a cache. So it does not have that lock on Vader. That lock should be either Thane or Luke's, most likely. We're going to see Wedge shoot first here. We're going to see a shield go down because Vader wants that evade token for the juke. There it is. Malice. Darth Vader pilot ability. Juked and dead. Even with elusive, who won't save him. He's going to juke it. And then you can reroll. The attacker does modify green dice first, just as the defenders modify attack dice first. And Vader comes in swinging, able to take down Wedge there and score some score some points, bringing that total to 14-8. Now, Wedge wasn't a cash carrier, dropped it last round to be placed back into the center of the board. This is Luke attacking Grand. I'm going to see if that's Lone Wolf activated. Nets 1 shield down on the Grand. No half points in this scenario. So as long as your ship's on the board, you can hold on to those full amount of points. Okay. We got Grand here. Putting 2 hits into what I can only assume is Luke. No, Luke shot a Torp, so that would be into Thane. Ends up taking a damage card there. No crits though, so the Rebellion holds on to all 3 of those caches, and the Empire has 0 as we go into turn 6. The objective play here, so clutch. Bradley quickly identified that the path to victory. Kill Vermeil, that's step 1, right? Got to threaten Darth Vader, but mostly just try to avoid him in the early game, unless he's just going to joust you, which turns out he didn't. So focus on Vermeil, make sure he goes down to score those 5 points, get Palp off the board, and while doing that, make sure to grab as many caches as possible to get up on points. You've seen him score now 12 total points in objectives, which means then he'll need to keep those caches for just 1 more turn. Grand's either going to have to take Thane off the board, which he is going into the corner, going into a bit of a kill box here between Darth Vader and the Grand Inquisitor. Probably going to see a K-turn from Luke. That's just a good way to keep arc on Grand Inquisitor, but time is ticking. Even if he does kill Thane, it only prevents 1 point from being scored, which means regardless, Bradley wins and 3 rounds. Arvel does not need to engage, just gonna hard 3 and fly around while the 2 aces engage Thane. So it's going to be a tough ask for Duncan here. I would assume it's gonna have to be a misplay by Bradley, I think, to lose him this game. But we'll find out. The pressure is on for Duncan. Can Darth Vader and the Grand Inquisitor survive? Now, you could, in theory... Oh, jeez. Thank you. Could, in theory, try to shoot both Thane and Wedge, or Thane and Luke, specifically, so that you can pop off 2 caches, but unless Duncan kills 18 points in ships, he will not take the victory without scoring more objective points. As Arvel's worth 3, he's going to have to pick up a cache at some point. Yeah, and Arvel's just getting as far away from the fight. Left him plenty of space to hard 1 next round. And as he's traveling down towards our subscriber goal, it does remind me that we hit that 150 mark, which means after this round we'll be giving away that Smog Decimator from Paint Wars Season 1. So super excited about that. We have t-shirts coming from the Grand Admiral Patreons as well. And I do have bonus prizes to give away if we can get some more support. I have these adorable care emoji dial covers. We saw, I think, Wedge using one earlier. They're from the Facebook app, where you can put an emoji in. I don't know why I'm describing emojis on Facebook to you people, but in case you didn't know, in case you're not on the old FBs. So I do have, like I said, that kind of extended goal giveaway, but stay tuned for that smog decimator after this round, as we'll have a second round of the top 4. We're able to catch both games in this cut, and then we'll play a third finale. So Vader, rolls the hit and takes a single ion, which means no evade for Juke, and has limited maneuverability. Yikes. And it looked like the bear roll from Grand didn't fit either. Ugh. So, has a round, I guess. It has to pop off Thane's crate or kill Thane right now. It's the only option. Kill Thane right now. Buy yourself one more turn, and then, I don't know. Pick up the cash? No. I don't know if Duncan's got an out after that. Like I said, with only 2 points of scenario actions, he can't make up the difference between that and Arvel. Hey, thanks for joining us, Funwalk. How'd Monaco go? Who won? Yeah, I think they're discussing the inevitability here. But we'll turn to combat. All right. Yeah, it has to go to Thane here. It's got the Vader and Malice. I think he's got 2 force. I just assume he's got unlimited force all the time. Oh, he's got a focus token. So he doesn't get the Malice then. He's got to do the Evader ability for 1 force. And then... Alright, so he's resetting it here. So 1 focus. And... you need that 3rd hit. If he doesn't pop up the cash, it's game anyways. So you have to decide what's the math on it. Is it better just to get the 3 hits and do an outright kill? I mean, Thane's got, I believe, the elusive charge active. Yep, I could see it there. No, he used it already, so he doesn't have elusive, but he has the focus. Yeah, you got to do the 3 hits and just kill him outright. Hope he just rolls 3 blanks, and he doesn't. He takes a single damage, and that's going to be game. Bradley Smith pulls off the victory here, 20 points to just 8 over Duncan Howard. An extreme upset here at the Richmond Open.
Thank you to ISO, Danko, Baffle, Trojan, Prophet, Shadow, Tycho, Spice, Raider, Lancer, Fallen, Row 6, 626, Chief, and J List, our Grand Admiral patrons. And all of our Gold Squadron patrons and community members, thank you for your support. Gold Squadron out.